My compacted curriculum is for a math lesson in second grade on the concept of two-step word problems. There are two main standards for this lesson, an OA standard on one and two-step word problems and an MBT standard on fluently adding and subtracting within 100. Important contextual factors to consider are that for the 8 students who will be considered a high level of mastery, 5 are female and 3 are male. There is lots of diversity in the group, with students identifying as African American, Hispanic, Chinese, and Caucasian. Being in second grade means that these students are 7 to 8 years of age. For why I plan to differentiate, the students took a 5-question pre-assessment that consists of two-step word problems, and they were challenged on the back with a higher level thinking problem that asked them to come up with their own two-step problem. Coming up with word problems can be conceptual as is, and a two-step problem is even more challenging to do. From information gathered from the pre-assessment and from other lessons, it is known that students have already mastered 2-digit addition and subtraction up to 100 and one-step word problems. For what will need to be differentiated, the main skill students still need to work on is learning to identify the 2 different steps in the two-step word problems. A strategy that can be helpful with this is the cube strategy. In cubes, C stands for circle the number, U is for underline the question, B is for box the keywords, E is for eliminate extra information, and S stands for solve. Once students master this standard, they can move on to the next MBT standard that focuses on adding up to 4 2-digit numbers at a time. This is important for building addition fluency, but also for word problems that will have more than 3 numbers. For how I plan to differentiate, students will participate in whole group instruction and engage in example problems that use higher numbers. Students will come up to the smartboard and solve the problems following the cube strategy. Before transitioning to the next activity, the students will engage in a check for understanding using whiteboards to pick from a problem within their comfort level and hold it up to be looked over. For the main activity, students will pair off and will write problems for one another to solve. First, they will write the problems, then they will solve them to check their problem writing skills, because that's the more complex skill, and then they will swap with their partner and solve. The lesson will finish with an exit ticket that asks for 2 things: a 30-second summary of what they learned, and also it'll have a question probing into the next MBT standard to see where students are as the challenge problem. The post-assessment method is the same as the pre-assessment with similar problems. When the data was compared to look for growth, it showed that students were ready for the next standard. When completing lessons on two-step word problems, students should focus on finding the missing number or continue practicing writing their own problems. Both types of problems are higher level thinking and are better for students who have mastered the standard. Since they are ready for the next MBT standard, they should move on to practice the adding 4 2-digit numbers first. The only resource not mentioned directly was Math Expressions curriculum, and it was used for planning the lesson and the example questions. And then I wanted to show my pre and post assessment. So this is the pre and post assessment. Each were 5 questions utilizing higher numbers. The questions are similar, but as you can see, they are different, and students would come up with their own problem on the back. So thank you for listening to my presentation.